from the northeast where I'm from. We're actually in Cape Cod today. Just looking for a quick dive and see what we can get. Targeting Jonah crab specifically. Typically just a bycatch, but it's getting a lot more popular and being served in restaurants. And I'm actually out with my friend Michelle. I haven't seen her in a very long time, but she's gonna take me out diving today. About 10 to 15 feet deep max. Visibility, maybe 10 feet. It was pretty good, right? So, there's mainly algae. We got some crabs. We let a lot go. It's like a lot undersized. I would come here again maybe on a, I don't know, maybe just dive out farther. Since we actually know the area a little better.
I'm freezing and shaking.
Yeah, I was like, can we go in there? Oh yeah, look at this trash too. Oh wait, let me just get it out.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Ooh.
Even though it's hers, she got it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That looks big.
Yeah, this one, I think you got this one too.
No, you got this one.
I'm sure you would have got some if you had your belt to go down.
Oh, yeah. No, you definitely got it. Because I saw you kick, and you were just like motionless. I was like, should I push you down? Against the rules?
Not against the rules.
No, it's the safety rules. Get down there. So we're back from our dive and we have a bucket full of Jonah crab. If I didn't mention it before, there's actually no real regulations on Jonah crab. There's just kind of a maximum of 50, and it includes other edible crab apart from blue crab. But there's no size limit. We did try to release any that were just way too undersized. We thought that the meat might be a little lacking and we're just generally hungry people. So we decided to buy a nice Maine lobster from the market as well. And in the New England area, it's really cheap. It was about $5.99 a pound for this chicken lobster. And what we wanted to create today were just a combination of lobster Jonah crab rolls. In terms of lobster, I would have gone diving for it, but since I'm living in California now, I'm actually not allowed to harvest lobster on my own. You have to be a resident of Massachusetts in order to go for lobster in the local area. So the first thing we're gonna do is dispatch the lobster. I'm just gonna take a knife and it's just gonna cut down right in between here. And you wanna be careful because the lobster can be a little slippery and wily, so the knife can kind of go either way. And the next thing we're gonna do is just rip the shells off from the Jonah crab, and I'm just gonna cut it down the middle, and then I'm going to clean out all the guts and everything like that. And with the little movie magic, everything's all cleaned, ready to go, dispatched, and we're now gonna bring it to our next step. So what I have here is a pot of boiling water. We actually want to butter poach these crabs and lobster, but the first thing we're going to do is just cook it in this boiling water for a few minutes, maybe around 3, just so that the meat is a lot easier to loosen and remove from all the shells. And this is all set now, and the next step we're going to do is remove the meat from the shells. Just going to use a few trusty tools, kitchen shears and shell cracker, and we're going to get to cracking. So while Jacqueline is finishing up removing the crab from the shells, I'm going to get started on the lobster and remove the meat.
One eternity later.
Here we have it. We have lobster and crab. And now we're going to toast the bread in some butter. What we're looking for is kind of like a golden brown color. We definitely want to pay attention and not let it burn because it can do so pretty easily. Bread is all toasted and buttered up. Maybe a little too much butter, but oh well. And now we are going to butter poach the lobster just to finish up that cooking and infuse that nice butter flavor into it. So we're just gonna use the rest of this stick. I'm gonna keep the heat not too high. Definitely want to melt everything, but we don't want it to brown or get past that stage. We just need to cook this just for a few minutes just to finish off that cooking. We already did a little bit in the boiling process, so. Lobster's all set. I'm gonna cook the crab in it a little bit too. Flavor might come out a little interestingly actually, since we're using the butter that we were cooking the lobster in, so it's like a lobster infused butter now. Now final step, before eating, but we're gonna assemble everything. So we have some lettuce here because we're trying to be healthy. 3 things are buttered and lettuce.
Alright, I'm hungry. Which one do you want to go for first?
The combo ones maybe? So the chips that we have are actually Cape Cod chips, and it's like a lemon pepper, but we thought it'd be cool to include Cape Cod chips since we went diving in Cape Cod.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Also, it's very buttery, but like definitely in a good way.
It's like a classic New England food. It's like what I grew up on. You don't see it a lot on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Or if you do, it's like $30 for a roll or something like that, and not even as good.
I think that, yeah, it's really good, and I don't taste too much distinction between the crab and the lobster, maybe because you poached the crab in the lobster butter, but what do you think?
I think just being from here, I much prefer lobster. I don't know, it's like, so even though the crab tastes like lobster, it's still a win for me. We thought it looked similar to a Dungeness crab. It's like a little cousin to the Dungeness crab, much smaller though. It's just not as sweet either, so maybe that could be it. It's just not as good. It is good, but it's just not as good.
No, it's definitely good.
So So I just took a bite of the all crab one. I like the crab. It has good flavors. Every crab is good. Just like we mentioned before, it's not as sweet as the Dungeness. So I think I just prefer the lobster, but I would definitely go diving for it again, just because since I don't live here anymore, I can't dive for lobster. So it's what I can get.
I feel like even though the look of the Jonah crab is similar to a Dungeness crab, I feel like the texture is more similar to a rock crab, right? It's kind of more firm, as like Dungeness is a little bit more flaky, I feel like.
So which one's your winner out of the three? I pick all lobster, obviously. But which one would you pick?
I think flavor-wise, I prefer the lobster, but in terms of like the way we have it set up here, where the lobsters are in kind of large pieces and the crabs kind of all just like mushed up, I do prefer the combo, just different varieties of like textures in your mouth. But yeah, flavor-wise, definitely lobster.
Yeah, I think the combo's good. It's like big chunks of lobster. Any holes, you just fill it up with crab.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's being extra about it, but like it tastes really good.
Would you make this again?
So I think you have the same exact answer as me, but we definitely will make it again because we've made it in the past.
Yeah.
And it's just with the added thing of like diving for your own food, which is really great. So for sure.
Yes. Also, next time maybe we'll put some Old Bay on it. We've done it with Old Bay butter before, but we wanted to keep it simple this time.
Thank you to Michelle for coming out with me. The area that we were in was not that big of a deal. It was like probably 10 to 15. There was no swell. We made sure to check the weather beforehand, everything like that. There's no boats that were in our direct vicinity, but you should just always be safe and go with a buddy and not go alone.
If you want to make this recipe yourself, we'll put it in the description box below. But if not, thanks for watching. Bye!